Hello guys, so I promised a video for those who have missed last week Friday's class due to the public holiday. So today I'm going to go through whatever that we have learned in the last week's class. So we learned about objects and classes. So let me just go through. I think you should have learned everything in your lecture. So this is just reintroducing to objects and classes, just to make sure that you understand better. So I'll give one example of how to use objects and class, and then after that I'll give you an exercise for you to try, and you have to submit that exercise at the end of the video. Right? So let's talk about what are objects and what are classes. So classes are like blueprints. So what do we mean by blueprint? Now let's say you have a blueprint for a car. So if you have a blueprint for a car, from this car I can make many other cars. Correct? Right. So example, if I have a blueprint of a BMW, so I can make, okay, let's say BMW, okay, never mind lah, blueprint of Axia, make it simple. So blueprint of Axia, so I can make many Axias, but each car will have its own properties. Correct? Now, what do we mean by properties in this case? Example would be color. It will have its own color, right? And it will have its own model, for example. So these things would be different for every one of the cars that you make. So, but the basic design is based on the original blueprint. Now we will also have something called behaviors. Objects can also behave. For example, a car. How can a car behave? A car can behave in this simple way. It can move. So a car can move. Now, what's the difference between these properties and also behaviors? I just explained it with some examples. Properties are physical things, mostly physical things that you can give a certain information to it or certain content to it. For example, color equivalent to green. So no two cars, okay, you can have multiple cars with the same color, but you can identify cars by their color and also by their models, right? So whatever models that you choose to have. So behaviors are also the same thing. So some cars have manual, some cars don't have manual, so that will be auto. So you can consider that as behaviors. So let's see how we want to program all these things into a program. But in our program, I'm just going to erase all of this, but in our program, what we're going to do is that we're going to have a blueprint for a car. Okay, so going to have a blueprint for a car. So this is my example that I'm going to show. And my blueprint is going to have these two things. So it will have color as the property and the make of a car. So what is color? Color, you already know what it is. What is make? So make means either it's Perodua or Toyota and such. So that's what make means. The company, basically the company that makes the car. Alright, so and behavior, we're just going to have one behavior. So behavior is the car moves. Behavior, the car moves. Alright, so we want to just show how the car moves. Okay, you will see what I mean by that later on. So these two are properties and this is behavior. So property number 1, this is property number 2. Okay, now you might wonder, why do we actually need classes?